Hey, it's JP here. I've got the Nikon Z6III, and on it I've got a Tamron 50-400mm 45-6.3 lens. I put these two together because I want to shoot on this platform. First off, I love the Z series from Nikon. These cameras have been absolutely amazing. They give you great Kodaks, they give you great response. I mean, it's probably one of the best crossover cameras ever made with the Z8. Love that camera. And the Z6III is not that far behind. They picked up a lot of the great autofocus, they picked up a lot of the great features that we saw in the Z8 in a much more affordable body. That makes this camera very attractive for those who want to get into a little better camera but don't want to spend a fortune. On it I've got an all-in-one zoom from Tamron, a 50-400mm. All-in-one zooms are really attractive for people because it gives you so many options. This really works from a portrait type lens to more of a sports type lens. So it gives you that whole range of options, and that's why people gravitate to these kinds of lenses, and they're really affordable. That's what makes them so attractive. So let's get out there and take some pictures. We'll talk about the Z6III and the Tamron lens as we do some images here at the lighthouse. The Z6III is a 24 megapixel sensor, and they call it a partial stacked sensor. So it's not a stacked sensor like the Z8, but we're getting a partial stacked sensor, which gives us some of those qualities, but it's not going to be the same as the Z8. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays. It's certainly fast. It gives us 14 frames per second in mechanical shutter, 20 frames a second in electronic shutter, and you can shoot in that electronic shutter up to 1,000 raw images. So the 50-400mm is an 8x zoom, which gives us everything from a 50mm and through a portrait type lens to more of a sports, birds, wildlife. It just gives us a range. It's going to do everything from small groups to sports and wildlife applications. So that 8x zoom gives us a range that allows for a wide variety of things we can photograph, and allows for some pretty good close-up work. You can get to a 0.5 macro work as well. So the Z6III color is something that's just really enjoyable to shoot on. It's a beautiful color, it's rich, it has a great color balance. I don't find it being too warm or too cool. I just find it very inspiring to shoot with. The Z8 was very similar, and this does not disappoint. It really has the same kind of color. When you combine that Z6III, the color you get there with the Tamron lens, it's got that B-Bar 2 coating. It really avoids ghosting and flares. It gives you a beautiful image between those two. I just really like the color rendition I'm getting as I shoot with this. It's just really pretty. So let's take a look at some of those images. The construction of the lens, those 24 elements and 18 groups, really helps to control the chromatic aberration. It's got a great lens opening, 67mm at the front, so it's very small and compact, which gives us a beautiful image with that Z6III. So let's take a look at some of those. The Z6III has an upgraded autofocus system that's more like the Z8 or the Z9. So you're going to get 3D tracking, you're going to get subject recognition. It's just a major upgrade. They say at least 20% better than the Z6 II, and it really proves as we shoot here, as we're tracking birds and things, it's just really fast and it sticks on the subject matter. When you combine it with the VXD and the 50-400, you get a system that really is made to track and to stick on motion objects from birds to sports, and really performs extremely well. One of the things I love about shooting with longer lenses is the compression you get. And what compression is, and I did a little short that'll be up on this, and that is, it really brings the background forward and compresses it to the person in the foreground. I shot some shots of the gentleman over here with the lighthouse in the background, and that long lens just brings those two together and gives you that really compressed image. I love the look of that. It's just a great look. So here's some of those images of that gentleman I photographed with the lighthouse in the background. So you're going to get that compression when you get above 100 millimeters, especially when you start to get into 200, 300, and 400 millimeters. You just get great compression. Sometimes that compression can just bring the whole background forward and make it fall out of focus, which is great, or you can actually see the subject in the background and it's just a really kind of out of focus, but it's still there. It can be a great look.
Really what happened was I started meeting all the musicians and they started asking me to do their headshots because I always had my camera. One of my friends, a great drummer, Scott Crago, he called and said, man, I got the audition for Stevie Nicks. I got the gig. They need a photo for the tour book. So I did his photo for the tour book, and next thing you know, Cymbal Company is calling and asking if I wanted to shoot more of their drummers for them. And you know, that was kind of what set me on my way. Doing what I love, drumming, taking pictures, traveling around LA in my Nomad with my cases that protect all my nearest and dearest tools, whether it be my drum kit or my cameras or my lighting. Hey, I'm Rob Shanahan. I'm a drummer, a photographer, and endorser of the SKB Case. They get all my gear and my drums safely to where I need to go.
So ergonomically, the 50-400 is a very compact 8x zoom. It's about 7.3 inches and about 41.6 ounces. So it's a very compact, lightweight. It has the 67 millimeter thread on the front, so it's that same filter size as across all the lenses that Tamron's been doing in this small, compact range. And it just gives you certainly the ability to carry it because it's lightweight and compact. It's got the button on the side. You can go in and you can program using their utility. You have the different custom autofocus and your custom stabilization modes on the front of the lens. So it really is compact and lightweight. We see with the Z6III, very interesting. It looks at first glance like it's pretty much the same as the Z6 II, but it's a little more like the Z8. It's a little larger camera, it's a little heavier camera, but it's going to give us a great performance. We see the buttons on the side, which gives us great access for customizing the buttons. I find that using the Nikon is just very tactile, very easy. It's easy to get over to the record button for me. I've got the ISO and the things where I want them. I've got the back joystick and the round. I mean, for this price range, we have everything we need in this camera. I don't feel like we're losing anything. We aren't making a lot of compromises ergonomically to be able to give us a good camera at this price point. Great grip so I can hold it with a heavier lens, and it just makes it very easy. One of the things about this I think is probably the most exciting is the EVF. It's like 5.4 million. That number is probably not exactly right, but it's extremely bright, and it gives you working outside. It just really is easy to work outside and to see exactly what you're doing. Both the screen on the back and in the EVF are probably one of the more powerful that we see out there. They give us great detail to be able to see them, be able to work outside in hot and really bright light situations. So ergonomically, great camera, that Z6III, and the Tamron, that small, compact 8x zoom. One of the nice things about this lens is that you have macro capabilities. You can get pretty close, about 9.8 inches at 50 to 70 millimeters. So at 9.8 inches, you're getting to the range of half macro. So you're getting pretty close to your subject matter. When you go to 400 millimeters, you're more like 59 inches. But what's useful about that is that it still allows you to get in very close to the face. Here's some shots I did of my grandson. I'm in super close on his face, and that's because I can focus up to that 59 inches at 400 millimeters, which means you're right in an extreme close-up on the face and things are in focus. So it gives you that macro capabilities at the broad end, 50, and it gives you a really close-up focus capabilities at the 400 millimeter end. So I find this really interesting. It gives you a lot of options as far as macro type or close-up work is concerned. So the Z6III has 8 stops of stabilization, and combining that with the proprietary VC stabilization you get in the Tamron lens, it really is easy to hand hold this. So having no problem being able to track birds and to photograph. I felt like I was getting stable shots. I didn't have to be at 3,000th of a second or anything. I'm getting decent shots at 100th of a second. which is pretty dang good if you're out at 400 millimeters. So just those two working together made this very easy to be able to photograph, get sharp images. Now in video mode with this lens, it's got AI algorithms that just gives you the right compensation, the right stabilization for the situation you're in at anything under 100 millimeters. So it's calculating that for you and giving you the right kind of stabilization that you need when you're in that video mode. So together, these two worked extremely well together. So the Z6III has some pretty incredible video codecs. You've got 6K 60p at NRAW video, you've got 6K 30p at ProRes RAW internal recording. Those are two codecs that really give you a high-end look here. This is a great companion to the Z8 if you're going to use them as an AB camera. We also have 5.4K at 60p and H.265 video. One of the features it has that I absolutely love, I just think it's probably one of the most useful features on modern cameras, is a pre-burst. And that pre-burst means that I can start, if I set the pre-burst on, it's recording once I wake my camera up, and then when I see my bird fly, I start shooting frames, and it takes the frames for like the last half a second or sometimes up to a full second. So you get that in flight, you get that moment the insect leaves. Pre-burst is pretty incredible. So these two really work seamlessly together. The autofocus was seamless. I just was able to stick on the birds and get great images, stuck with them. I was able to hand hold it, so the stabilization was very good. And it gave me great images, beautiful color. I just absolutely love the color you get, and especially with these two working together, we just got beautiful color and beautiful images. So let's enjoy some more of those and keep those cameras rolling and keep on clicking.